Hey, this is Yuval. I wanted to talk a bit about Scrum for marketing, something I'm focused on a lot these days. So, what is it? What is Scrum for marketing? Why is it relevant? We hear from a lot of marketing organizations that they need to reboot, they need to rethink how they're doing things. The combination of uncertainty together with the shift to digital and everything that's going on, and so much technology that they need to deal with is bringing them into a realization that just planning things out and working according to plans just doesn't work out. So they realize they're living a complex reality. They're realizing that the era of madmen is dead, right? It's the end of marketing as we know it, and they need to do a more empiric style of marketing. They call it data-driven marketing. We call it empiric, and by bringing those things together, that's where Agile starts to be relevant because Agile is about being empiric. So what is Agile marketing? Agile marketing is basically defining the Agile marketing manifesto that talks about things like validated learning over just our opinions and conventions. So end of the madman era and the God complex of the marketer that knows everything. We talk about collaboration of different marketing functions aligning to customer focus or customer journeys or buyer journeys over the classic marketing organization that has silos and hierarchy. We talk about focusing on adaptive and iterative campaigns that try to learn along the way rather than just one big bang campaign that throws everything we have in one big shot and win it or lose it. We want to have the opportunity to learn along the way, to discover what works rather than just predict what works. We want to have flexible planning rather than rigid planning, and we want to be able to respond to change rather than just follow a plan. We want to plan, but be able to respond to change afterwards. And we want to be able to make a lot of small experiments rather than just only a few bets. And when you apply Agile or even Scrum specifically to this context, it kind of is the same, but also kind of is a bit different. You can see, for example, that Scrum has been used in a variety of scenarios, not just for software development. Marketing is one of those scenarios. And when you look at Scrum that has, the Scrum team that focuses on a small set of things, running not a big project, but a short project up to 30 days, the sprint, where a marketing development team basically focuses on one sprint backlog that they turn from ideas they want to create marketing on or ideas they want to implement to a done increment, something that at the end of those up to 30 days, at the end of the sprint, includes working marketing that you can actually both review for real, not just based on ideas and storyboards, but also publish out there, launch it, and see whether it actually resonates with your customers, whether it helps you with the customer journey that you are trying to optimize. This marketing development team works with a marketing owner that basically optimizes the marketing backlog, typically called product backlog in Scrum, to figure out where to focus next. What should we do in order to maximize the value of our marketing work? This Scrum team holds a sprint planning before each sprint where they basically look at where they are, they take feedback from the last increment, what is in the marketing backlog, and they figure out what's the right thing for them to focus on in the next sprint. Then they run a sprint, they collaborate. During the sprint, they have a daily scrum, which they use to see where they are with the sprint backlog and inspect and adapt along the way. Plan each day according to what you learned from the previous day, both from work as well as You know, data from real life marketing, look at Google Analytics or whatever you want, or your Marketo data throughout the sprint. At the end of the sprint, you have a sprint review to look at that done increment, and a sprint retrospective in which you actually look at your process throughout this last sprint and inspecting and adapting. Because a key topic in Agile is we're not even sure that our way of working is actually ideal. We know that there are ways to improve, and therefore each sprint we stop and we ask ourselves, what concretely can we try to do better the next time around? This is the Scrum cycle as applied to marketing. The team that develops the marketing, as I mentioned earlier, should be a team that focuses on collaboration and customer value. Though those would probably be people from some different marketing functions like product marketing, field marketing, integrated marketing, even digital sales, which isn't even in marketing, is an ideal member of those Agile teams that we see out there. It also relates to the MarTech view of marketing and technology working together to deliver marketing value. We want those teams to be focused on customer value, which means ideally the team should own some segment of the buyer's journey or the customer journey, whether it is for a certain service, a certain product, a certain market segment for that product or service. It can also be a team that focuses on a big event or some key opportunity or challenge. Let's say we have a dry funnel or some competition that we want to tackle, or if we want to introduce a new concept that we're not sure how to use, maybe account-based or social selling, or it can also be used for a content team, content creation, or for work to enable sales in a smarter way, which would probably mean that we want to have salespeople also on this team when we create it. Some interesting aspects of how people look at Scrum in marketing is they hear Scrum and they hear something like the story of, you know what, during the sprint I come to a team, they tell me no soup for you, come back next sprint, which feels tough to marketers. They want to be able to react throughout the sprint, but one thing that they might want to remember is that actually what Scrum says is we want to focus on the Scrum goal. While we're focusing on the Scrum goal, we can do things that we learn about during the sprint. We can change the sprint backlog as long as we're aligned to the sprint goal. So that's not such a big problem with Scrum and marketing. One thing that I do hear from marketers is if you look at the Scrum guide, there's in the Scrum trainings, there's so much language that doesn't make sense to marketers, whether it is product, see product owner, product backlog item. 154 times product is mentioned in the Scrum guide. Development is used a lot as well. I'm sure there are other terms that are not really marketing vernacular. So when we do Scrum in marketing, we need to adapt some of the language. Another thing that we need to be aware of is that in the marketing world, we're trying to bring in two different worlds these days. We're trying to bring in the science of data-driven analytics, empiricism, but also the art. Marketing is an art. You need to do inspiring, awesome things. And some marketers think that Scrum and its empiricism and time boxes would actually kill their artsy, creative spirit. But the way to look at it is time boxes enable you to make sure that your art is in the right direction. You don't have to finish things each time box. You can still make the decision to continue to work on something, but it does bound you and make sure that the art is aligned with the science. But this certainly is an interesting area as more and more people start to do Agile marketing. When we actually choose what to work on, what we want is to play battleship basically we want to make sure that we don't just, make a huge bet. We do small pings. We fire small bullets, small tracers to see whether we're on the right track. And only then do we want to fire the big cannonball, only once we understand that we're on the right direction. There might be situations where we're certain of value that we need to deliver. There's no risk, then just break things into smaller pieces and increment. But if there is risk, what you want is to run through a loop of building something, measuring its impact, see if it's in the right direction, learning, and then going through the loop again until you find something that really works, and then you can go into incremental mode. So this, at a very high level, was what Agile and Scrum for marketing is about. A lot of companies that you might be aware of are already doing this, names like Santander Bank, Oracle, EMC, Vistaprint, CA Technologies, Linkit, Terminus, REI, HubSpot, some universities. So maybe it's time to start looking at Agile marketing. If you have any questions or are looking for more materials, you can find more information about Agile marketing at agilesparks.com/agile-marketing. I'm Yuval. I'll love to hear from you what you think about Agile marketing and whether you're trying it or not. I'm at Yuval at agilesparks.com or Yuval Yeret on Twitter. Hope this was useful. Thanks and bye-bye.